Hey guys, sorry if I look a little blurry. My resolution looks a little off, but as long as you can hear me, that's all that matters. So I'm Caitlin Straight, and our little mini lesson or webinar, I guess today, is my 5-step marketing system for Facebook that's super simple. Obviously, there's a little more that goes into it than these 5 steps, but these are the general 5 steps that I always come back to every day that really helps me stay focused on Facebook, because it's so fast-paced, right? It's like there's people liking stuff and commenting, and you're getting messages, and there's like all these groups, and there's your pages, and it's like crazy. And it can be a really big time waster if you don't have the the plan or know what you're doing on Facebook to get results, right? So I like to make it really simple, really quick. I mean, not necessarily quick either. There is some planning and some learning, and you have to keep doing this stuff before you can start to get results. I mean, you can't just necessarily show up to the party and expect people to have their credit cards out ready to buy your stuff or to buy your services or whatever, right? So sorry if I keep looking down from the camera, because I wrote some notes out so I wouldn't leave anything out. All right, so my first step, right, step number 1, is to have a plan and track what you're doing, right? So a plan can be something as simple as showing up and being visible and keeping that momentum up on Facebook, whether that's posting, well, let me actually back up. Number 1 should always be value, okay? Providing value, showing up, and having a plan about that value, right? So you want to show up and provide value. So not necessarily pitch right off the bat, but you want to show people who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. So you want to introduce yourself in groups and start asking questions to people and answering those questions, establishing yourself as an expert, searching for keywords about your industry that you can answer questions, showing up when people are asking for help, like, hey, I need a VA, and if you're a VA, you can go in and say, hi, I'm a VA. That's someone asking for your services. Sharing, informational blog posts that you've done about your topic, sharing videos that you've done about your topic, sharing other people's stuff about your topic, or even other critical business information that you find that's really interesting. So I just shared something about creating YouTube videos not that long ago, and that's not my expertise, but that's something that I can learn from, and that my industry and my customers and clients and other business, leaders need to know about. I mean, that's something that everybody needs to know how to do, or they need to hire somebody to do it, right? So having some kind of plan and keeping in mind that you always want to show up and show value, whether you're giving out free information, free services, not necessarily free services, free information, giving out, your blog posts, your videos, whatever you're doing to produce quality content of value, create a plan around that. So start showing up in Facebook groups and answering people's questions, and developing a plan to market your page and market your group if you host a group, right? So you want to show up in your page daily, do live streams about your expertise, or sharing helpful tips, or sharing your blog post or whatever. Be doing that daily, but most importantly, you want to be doing all these activities, right? So you don't necessarily have to do 15 live streams a day, right? I mean, if you did a live stream once or twice a week, okay? Maybe you share your blog posts whatever times a week, or you post in certain groups certain times a week. I mean, there's a lot that goes into making a marketing plan. Those are just some of the basics of things you should be doing to make yourself visible and make yourself known as an expert. But the main point of this, too, is while you're doing all of this, you want to be tracking everything. So you want to be seeing, what your customers resonate with, what makes them click, right? What makes them want to buy your services? What makes them want to opt into your programs or your webinars? What's performing well and what's not? I mean, are they really engaged on your live videos and your Facebook Live feeds, and they're asking questions and they're really into that? Or are they really into when you ask a question in a group and you get a lot of feedback there? Are they more into answering surveys where you can critique their information or give feedback? I mean, what is really getting you the best return? Because that's the kind of activity that you want to be doing. And you want to also be tracking what's getting clicks off of Facebook onto your email list, onto your blog. So whatever's converting from Facebook, all these activities that you're doing, right? You want to get them off of Facebook onto the website, and you need to have a way to track that as well. That's the main part of all of this, because if you're doing all of this activity to establish yourself as an expert, to get your work, your message out there, to gain clients and customers and make sales and have people, as the go-to in your industry for whatever you do, that's all great. But you need to actually know what all of that works, and that's something that a lot of people forget about. They just go out there and do all of this stuff without a plan, and they don't track anything to see what's working, and you're missing a huge step, because we want to do the things that are working and that are making us money, not necessarily because it's a trendy thing to do. My second step, and then with all of that, I have an Excel sheet that I put all of my posts, all my social media posts in that I do. So like I post on Instagram if I have a link or whatever. So I track what gets the best engagement, what gets the best returns on that Excel spreadsheet for everything that I do. So I know what I need to continuously do and what's doing well, and what products are producing well, and what services are getting better, engagement and stuff. So tracking that is a huge asset to what you're doing. Also having link trackers, so I can post some of those on the comments for this. But setting up like Bitly, so when people click on your link, they track where they found that link, so you can see if you're getting more traffic from Facebook or Pinterest, or how people are finding your stuff. That's really important too. So second step system here is to try different things, but do what gets you the most return on investment, right? ROI. I am all for all new technology, right? We're in a social media marketing age. There's video, there's, all this great information out there. But you need to do what works for you, what works for your business, and what hopefully works for your clients. Whatever is getting you the most visibility, the most clients, the most money, that's what you need to focus on. If your clients are not on Snapchat, or they're not on Twitter or whatever, then, you need to focus on what's getting you money. I mean, it's great to be everywhere on every platform and have all this, be blogging and have a YouTube channel with videos and have Snapchat and have Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and whatever else going. But if you don't have an established plan of action where you can continuously keep all of this up and it's actually working for you, it looks a lot worse to have these social media channels out there that aren't active, that are linked to you, versus having things that you're really, really active in, and that's recent, right? Because that's when people are looking for services or they land on your website or they land on your Facebook page or whatever, you want to show them like you're active and you know what you're talking about and your best work, right? You don't want to link them to your Twitter feed that you haven't updated since last year. Like, that's not going to look very good. You've got to establish what works for you, and if you want to be everywhere all the time at once, if you feel the need to do that because it's working for you and you're getting visibility and you're getting engagement from all of these different social media channels, establish a plan of spreading your message out. Get on Buffer or something like that and start automating all your social media channels so you are everywhere at once, but make sure to track everything and see what's working. My point is, don't waste your time somewhere just because it's the trendy hot thing right now if it's not working for you. You don't want to, you want to, distribute your message everywhere so you get more visibility and you get more clients, but if you're not tracking what's working and you're wasting time somewhere, it's not worth it. So just keep that in mind and be where your customers are. I mean, that's a really important part too. Step number 3, knowing who you want to serve and their pain points. So this has to do with ideal client avatars, kind of. And this was a really big lesson for me this week in my business. I was providing services for some customers that I wasn't super in love with, right? They were nice people and they provided nice services, but I was like dreading doing work for them because I wanted to work in other areas of my business and I had other things going on, and I was putting their services last, so I wasn't producing the best work for them, and I just fired a bunch of clients because they just weren't working for me and they weren't respecting what I wanted to do, and it just wasn't working out. So I thought I wanted to work with them, and turns out I don't. I mean, that's just not who I want to work with anymore. And it's, as much as an ideal client avatar, yes, they were in my ideal client avatar, but you don't necessarily have to stick to that ideal client protocol with everything that you do. The reason we establish an ideal client is to keep that in mind, to make everything that we do in business so much easier, right? So if you keep in the back of your mind, okay, I only serve women entrepreneurs who are looking to establish their business on Facebook to make money and have freedom in their business and travel, and they want to make, have their business be a big success on Facebook, right? So that's my ideal client. It goes into a little more detail than that, but I always keep that in the back of my mind, so I'm creating things that I know that they need and they want, and I know their pain points. So when I create a new product or a new service, or I talk about, how things will help them, I can easily connect with them better because I know what they need. I know their struggles and what they really feel like they just don't understand, and they just need someone to give them that information. And hopefully I'm delivering that, right? So if you know who you want to serve, and that can change. I mean, you only know that only by trying, right? Because you might have an idea who you want to serve, and you work with them and you're like, I don't really like this industry. I don't like working with that. I don't like doing this. So you can change who you work with at any time. It's your business. But if you keep that in mind, it'll keep you on a better path, and everything in your marketing and your business will be more cohesive, right? As far as your branding and your website and how things look, because if you keep that in the back of your mind of who you're trying to target, if you're trying to target men, you don't necessarily want to have a really feminine website, but maybe you do, because maybe that's not a gender-based thing to say now. But, if you're selling hair products or something, you don't want to target people in the construction industry, and you want to feature pictures of your hair products and have colors that are maybe light and pretty or something, or that makes people feel a certain way. And you want to use words and hit people's pain points of like why their hair is gross, right? So like my hair gets really oily and greasy and gross sometimes. So maybe if someone had an ad, or someone was talking in a Facebook group or on social media, hey, I used to have really greasy, oily hair, and I switched to this all natural shampoo, and now it's, it's great, and I don't ever have to use dry shampoo anymore, and I cut my shampoo in half because I don't have to use it as much. That would really hit me, and that's a problem that I deal with, and they know that that's a problem that their products solve, so they can target their ideal clients better because they know what their pain points are. And that's a really simple example. But knowing who you want to work with, who you want to serve, and their pain points can make selling so much easier, because it seems like you're specifically talking just to them. You always want to talk to just one person when you're marketing. You don't want to be like, oh, well, this hair product can help anybody that has hair because it's a great shampoo. I mean, is that really going to motivate you to go buy that product? because everybody has hair. I mean, if you say, well, this product will help you, help your hair be more shiny and will get rid of dandruff, and if you have really oily hair, it'll absorb all the moisture, or I guess oil is moisture. Well, doesn't your hair need moisture? Maybe that's not the best example. But absorb all the oil out of your hair so you can use less shampoo, and it's great for the environment because it's all natural products, so your face doesn't get all oily, and you'll be saving money in the long run because you don't have to buy as much shampoo, right? Something like that. So it seems like, if I saw an advertisement like that, they're speaking out directly to me. That's all the problems I have with my hair. I'd be like, wow, maybe I need to try that out. So remember who you're serving in the back of your mind with everything that you do in marketing. You want to kind of keep that person in mind and remember their pain points, what they're really struggling with right now. You want to think about their magic solution that you can give them right now, right? Whether it's time, whether it's freedom, whether it's taking out this major headache that you can solve. Remember that in the back of your mind. So step number 4 is groups are magic. Not really, but I think they kind of are. So if Facebook groups ever go away, I'm going to be really, really sad because it's a big part of my business that I really enjoy and love working in. So, okay, we're still good. I got time. Facebook groups. As you know, there's groups that people host that can be really specific, like women entrepreneurs, millennials or something. So like a specific age group, a specific type of person, or it can be like, women in business. It'd be like any woman in business or something, right? Facebook groups should be a part of your marketing strategy on Facebook because it is a great way to connect with people, connect with a lot of people, and not necessarily on a sales point. So you can go into a group and you want to introduce yourself. You want to say, I help, this type of person do this. And it's one of the best, easiest ways to interact with people and to get to know what their pain points are. And you can consistently remind people that, hey, I can help you with that. And you don't even necessarily have to go in there and try and sell your services immediately, but you can, depending on the group rules. But you want to have a couple of groups or consistently schedule showing up in groups and providing your value and sharing your blog posts and sharing your YouTube videos and sharing, tips and tricks or whatever that only that people really, really need help with. And if you know your clients' pain points, you can start posting about that in Facebook groups saying, I helped so-and-so because she was struggling with all of these issues and I helped her by providing my services and we got rid of those issues or whatever. But by consistently showing up and answering other people's questions and reminding people that you do whatever it is you do in your industry, you'll start to establish yourself as an expert in these groups, and people will start to remember you as being, whatever it is that you do, and they'll start asking you for advice, or they'll start tagging you in these groups. And every time you do this, you make your audience a little bit larger, right? Because there's so many people in that group that can see that post. So you want to, start inviting them to your webinars or to your blog post, or try to convert them off of Facebook onto your email list. But you can also promote in groups too, because you're selling your services. Everyone has to make money, and you are selling is only helping someone, right? So that people have this problem with whatever it is. I know people have a problem marketing on Facebook. They don't understand how to do it. They don't understand where to start. They don't know if they should have a page. They don't know if they should have a group. How often should they be posting in groups? How do they make money from Facebook? There's all these questions, right, that I could go on and on about answering that people just don't know where to even start. Should they have ads? How does that work? So I know people have these problems because people consistently ask me about them, and I've been asked myself the same things when I started, right? And I'm just providing value, and I'm letting people know that I can help them solve these problems by selling. I have products that I can help them with these questions. I have services and coaching packages that if they work with me, we can work through all these issues. That's all that selling is, right? You are providing your services or products to help solve a problem. And there's money being exchanged. That's it. So selling in groups, go for it. I mean, be as promotional as you want, but always remember to provide that value first. If you provide value over and over and consistently, and if you provide value before you pitch, and people start to know, like, and trust you, selling will be so much easier on Facebook, right? Whether it's your page, whether it's other people's groups, whether it's your own group, whether it's on a Facebook Live, wherever you're trying to sell, if you establish that relationship first and people get to know, like, and trust you because you're providing all this great, free, valuable content, people will want to buy from you. So, number 5 is remember to connect to people and show that you're human and use storytelling. So, there's this whole thing, social media, right? We are all social. And a lot of people take out the social part. We are all humans and we have a need to connect with people. If you help someone, if you connect with them, being human, if you share your story about how you got started, why you're doing this in business, you know, what your struggles are with your life or your family and how that relates to your business. If you're just sharing your personal stories, people are going to want to connect with you more, right? Because we're all human and we all probably have similar struggles and stories and we all really feel the need to connect with someone. I shared a story, I haven't shared it in a while, but I, posted how I was working, full-time being in retail. I worked in Bath and Body Works. And I really loved my job, and I loved, like, the holiday rush and everything, but I was seasonal, so I only worked seasonal holiday position. But I was exhausted all the time because I was working, like, nonstop holiday, running around, crazy. And I had a roommate that I was living with, and I was really, really struggling with money because I was just, I made minimum wage and I worked full time and I just felt like I couldn't make ends meet. And I can literally remember sitting, I had food and I had, a house to live in, I had clothes. I wasn't like necessarily poor on the street, but it was still tough sometimes because I was trying to manage everything and I was struggling. And I can remember literally sitting on the floor and counting my change out to see how much change I had in my purse so I could go to the bank to get some money so I could, pay for some of my groceries. And I can't ever remember a time in my life having to sit down and count spare change out of my purse because I was literally that low on money. That was a low point for me. I felt like there was just nothing more I could do. I was at my full capacity working, right? I was already exhausted, already running around, already just like trying to keep things going, all my bills going, having my house. And it was just like, what else do I do? And that story, me telling that story of me, working in retail and that being tough and working that many hours and standing on my feet all day and having people yell at me about soap, and then having to go home and still feel like what did I just work for? I'm having to count change so I can go buy some groceries. That story that I posted and how that has motivated me in business to never be in that position again and never have to work like 72 hours straight. I didn't work that much, but for almost like 48 hours straight. I can remember literally driving home at like 4 a.m. and having to be back at 6 and then work a full day again. Because it was seasonal and I was making minimum wage and I was just like, I have to work to make money, but then I go home and I still don't have any money. So, but sharing that story in a couple of Facebook groups, it really allowed me to connect with people. It really allowed people to see, I understand where you're coming from in your business, and you want to have freedom to travel and freedom to work for yourself, and this freedom of earning what you're worth. I mean, that's like an amazing feeling once you get that. And setting your own rates and being able to sell your products and services and being really passionate about it, about helping people. That's really cool too. But sharing your own stories and having that relatable experience with people, and then providing value on top of that and providing your products and services, that's what it's all about. I mean, if you can do that consistently, then you don't have to go around and post stories about, you can post whatever you want. If you feel like you can't ever really get too personal. I mean, we're all human, and everybody's probably had similar experiences at one point, right? But sharing that story, I got hundreds of comments from people that I haven't even ever talked to before then. Sharing how they can relate and how, inspiring it was that I decided to make my own business so I would never have to be in that position again. And, that really showed me and motivated me to share my story more. Maybe I don't have to share that type of impacting story, but that it's just a great way to connect with people and to show your customers and your ideal customers, hopefully, that you are human and you understand where they're coming from and you're not a robot behind a computer, right? So when you share those types of stories, I think it just really gives people a reason to want to follow you more and want to connect with you more. And it reminds them that, hey, you've been there and you understand where they're coming from and their struggles. So that is my 5-step system to Facebook marketing. There's more to it than that. But that's about it. Pretty simple, I hope. If you have any questions about anything that I went over, go ahead and ask, and I can answer them in the comments here. So let me know if you have any questions. Happy to help. Whether it's about something that I went over today or not, as long as it has to do about Facebook marketing, feel free to ask. Here to help. Thanks for watching.